Hello all! How is it going, everybody? Welcome to the weekly music talk stream. I am your host, Rezi Arenji, everybody's favorite orange music loving, yarn spinning cat boy. And yeah, welcome everybody. Hope you've had an incredible week, or at least a decent week. I don't know, with these times nowadays, this year's already off to quite a chaotic start. So I understand if you're feeling a bit in the dumps, but I hope, being here, being with me, talking music, talking with my guests here, hope that'll cheer y'all up some. Yeah, things have been going decently for me. I've just been playing a lot more Yarg in my spare time. I've been working hard at work on the glam metal script. I actually recently, earlier this week, watched The Decline of Western Civilization Part 2 for the very first time for that. And what an interesting fucking movie that one is, let me tell you. Like, oh my gosh, Penelope Spheris, she I don't know, like if she intended or unintended to capture however many shots. I mean, some of the shots she she did straight up fake, and I do wonder the efficacy or the ethics rather of filming the entirety of the Chris Holmes pool thing without like intervening or whatever. But at the same time, I don't know, the honesty, the truth that comes through her camera is just really striking. It's just like a visually stunning film too. Like if you've never seen like any of the Decline of Western Civilization films, like I've so far seen the first two at this point. They are really good, like rock documentary films. Um, yeah, and I'm really looking forward to interpreting that a bit more in my essays, and also like I don't know. I think I've been saying like the past few weeks, I'm recently sort of talking a bit more about I'm writing a bit more about Guns N' Roses, looking into their history more than I ever have, and it's been an interesting bit of research I've been doing, let me just say, but you'll have to wait for my full feelings on all that. Anyways, let's turn now to our guest of the evening. This is a friend of mine, actually, not somebody that I met on Blue Sky. A lot of my guests recently I've been discovering like all these musicians on Blue Sky that I've moved to since things became even more fucked last year. But this friend, I met them on Twitter, and they recently became a VTuber, sort of an idol VTuber, space idol, I believe they are. Um, but they're super chill. They've got a very absurd like taste in music. Like, oh my god, there's they sent me their I think I don't know, like their Spotify top artists, something like that, and it is very diverse. So we're sure to have quite a fun conversation tonight. Would you all please join me in welcoming Alexis Kunzite? Okay. Let's refresh chat. Okay. I think everything is turning back around.
Thank goodness.
Uh yeah, okay. No big deal. I'm just gonna fucking edit out the 30-minute crash app that preceded this, but welcome everybody to another edition of Music Talk Stream. I'm here with my guest, Alexis Kunzite. I've known them for a tiny bit now, on Twitter and all that. They've recently started giving VTubing a really big go, and, I'm here to help that, and they're also really chill and super knowledgeable in music. So, yeah, it's gonna be a fucking cool conversation today. I can't wait. uh, Alrighty. So, like I was saying, I usually like to start these streams off by asking my guests like what really kicked off their passion for music, because it's one thing to really sort of casually listen in to music on your spare time every now and then, as sort of mood music or whatever. It's another thing to have the varied tastes that you do. You were sharing me your Spotify whatchamacallit, and your top artists, and it was just such variety in there. So yeah.
Yeah.
What sparked that?
Yeah, I mean, variety's one way. It's kind of chaos is probably a more accurate way to describe it. But
Chaos. I call it fun.
No, but yeah, no. So I started listening to music more, because I was a gamer. I played video games and I played Guitar Hero, and I was like, hey, some of these songs are pretty cool. I mean, also hearing songs in like Tony Hawk games as well.
Oh yeah.
And I think yeah, I started listening to kind of alternative and like kind of boomer rock music.
Yeah.
A little bit of AC/DC because they're kind of Australian.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No,
Listening
AC/DC were
to
one of my early bands too. I was saying before, all the technical issues got in the way that, some of my first memories of getting into rock were like AC/DC and like Sonic X AMVs, and my dad, my dad buying me Back in Black, and I bought myself high voltage with a little bit of pocket change. There's always something to appreciate about a good AC/DC tune. Like I think I've said before, I go through phases where it's like, on the one hand, like, AC/DC, they're all right. They're just sort of meat and potatoes, bog standard rock and roll with a little bit of sexist undertones in their lyrics sometimes. But on the other hand, I go through periods where I'm just like, AC/DC, best fucking live band in the world, fucking R.I.P. Bon Scott and all that, It's...
yeah. No, yeah. I feel
they're a
you,
band
yeah.
of multitudes.
Yeah, a band of multitudes. They're a band who figured out their sound and they have stuck to it.
Oh,
big
yeah.
time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it seems we've got a request in chat to talk a little bit about Kiss. I mean, I am, I guess, I am the Kiss guy, I guess, having beasted it with those retrospectives, and yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so I mentioned before during the technical issues, the first band that I really started listening to was Green Day. The second one was Kiss.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, Kiss was like I got so into Kiss. I listened to the good stuff and the bad stuff. I've listened to every album except Asylum, Crazy Nights, and Hot in the Shade. And
you're not missing much with those.
That's so I've heard. But yeah, no, I got really into Kiss. I think my fave was Paul Stanley.
Oh yeah.
I think
I was always more of an Ace guy. I don't know. I just loved his hard knock rockin' sound.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel the older me would definitely be much more inclined towards Ace or Peter, having read their autobiographies especially.
Oh my god, the fucking insane shit in those biographies.
Yeah, like, I feel Ace kind of, I mean, he only goes halfway, but Peter he really lays in. He's like, Gene he uses the word repeatedly. He calls him Machiavellian, and that is very accurate, I think.
Oh my god.
But yes, no. It's funny, the reason I found you was because I suddenly had an itch to see someone talk about music from The Elder.
Oh yeah.
And I was looking through, and there were some videos, but they were not quite what I wanted. And then I see this 3-part 6-hour retrospective, and it's like, oh my god, this is, and it's a VTuber?
Yeah. No,
and then I was like, okay.
I'm honestly surprised like nobody has tried to do like an in-depth history on The Elder. I've always been very much inspired by like Todd in the Shadow's Train Records and other sorts of creators who do like, Crash Thompson, like doing like these
big
takedowns of like bad albums and stuff. I'm surprised that nobody has ever gotten to like The Elder. I mean, there are like a few albums like that. Mostly, like, honestly, sort of like progressive rock music. Like, there are a few duds like Emerson, Lake and Palmer. Yes, there are a few other bands out there that have, just completely dropped the ball when it comes to like quality and like. I don't know if it's a matter of, these creators haven't gotten to them yet, or just like it's like they've got a bunch of other things in the back. Like, but there's so many like stories of disasters in rock and roll history yet to be told, and I love telling them. So
Yeah, I feel like a thing is, I guess the reason why people don't dig into Kiss is because they probably do not hold them in the regard that they hold, you know, other bands, other contemporaries,
Yeah,
you know.
and I
It is
mean,
what it is.
it is understandable to an extent. Something
Yeah.
changed in their whole form of operations after Peter
Oh
and
yeah.
Ace left the band.
Oh yeah. Like I mean, you know, they didn't sell out so much as like the selling out is just what they are.
Yeah, yeah. First concert I saw Kiss on the Love Gun Alive 2
That's
tour. It's unfortunate,
Love
you
Gun
know.
Alive too. Oh.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate. I never got to see Kiss when they were out and about. I mean, it's
E-
difficult, right? I mean, I could have probably gone out and seen, you know, the modern Kiss incarnation before they hung things up. But the thing is, I mean, not that I have anything against like Tommy Thayer or Eric Singer or any of those guys, but it's just like, I don't know. I feel like it's the Gene and Paul show more these days, and
yes.
like,
Yeah. I think, yeah, I think it is a little bit, you know, Eric and Tommy are very much doing their jobs. I mean,
yeah,
you know, from what I understand, Tommy specifically is, I mean, you know, bluntly speaking, he is said to be kind of a suck up. He was a fanboy who learned how to copy Ace freely.
he was in Black and
And
Blue, yeah, and like he got along really well with Gene Simmons back when he was producing their albums in the '80s, and yeah, it just sort of snowballed into this, into
yeah,
this
he is,
persistent
yeah.
relationship.
Yeah, and he is someone who would not say no to Paul and Gene, and is quite happy because I think specifically, especially in Peter's book, he talks about how when they came back for the reunion, they were not bandmates; they were employees of Paul and Gene,
Yeah,
and they
yeah,
didn't like that. And so Tommy and Eric, because you know they're not the original Catman and Spaceman, they're
yeah,
willing to just be employees. They're willing to put on the mask and just
yeah,
do the characters, and people would be like, yeah, it's Kiss, yeah, it's Kiss, you know, the Catman, the
yeah.
Spaceman, it's just like you remember.
Yeah, and you know that's the thing too. Like with that like how to say like that like what I was saying about like Kiss sort of losing that artistic integrity like after Ace and Peter left the band, like when they started like treating the replacements like contract like hired guns essentially,
Yeah.
like that's when Kiss really lost its identity as a band and just started being
Oh
something
yeah.
that, you know, Gene and Paul maintained for their own checkbooks.
Yeah. Yeah, I love Eric Carr very much, like, but I
Oh
feel
yeah.
it's really sad because I heard in the late '80s the only reason he was able to get like you know on the like get his own cover of Beth and get like a single song on Hot in the Shade
Yeah.
was he locked himself in a hotel room and he drank until they gave him what he wanted.
Yeah, no, he was he was very it was a very fraught relationship in the late 80s between Eric and the rest of them, because I mean, even starting off, I think Paul said in his autobiography, like in the Unmasked tour, that he had a bit of anxiety of being, you know, considered the replacement drummer. And you know, Paul was kind of he kind of played dumb to, you know, what he meant by that, but you know, the fact that you sign a contract and not, you know, immediately come on as like an equal partner, an equal songwriting partner of the band, like the fact that you fucking, oh my god, you know, I was saying earlier in stream, you know, how I was watching The Decline of Western Civilization Part 2 for the first time. Now, are you familiar with the documentary?
Who's it by?
It's Penelope Spheris. She directed she did this first part on like hardcore Californian punk in like the early 80s, and then
Ooh.
like by the time of the late 80s and like everybody, all the glam bands had rolled in and like thrash metal too, she was like, I ought to do an update on this, and then she filmed, you know, Decline Part 2, and fuck, where was I going with this? Yeah, she brought on Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley to, you know, do sort of talking head interviews about like heavy metal and all that. And Paul Stanley, he's surrounded by like 4 different groupies on a bed, and like every time Penelope Spheris cuts into like him giving like a response to an interview question. It's like a zoom in shot, like from overhead, like down onto Paul Stanley, getting like all the
Oh my
girls in frame.
goodness.
It's like, it's so fucking extra. And like the whole time you see that you see them and Gene and Excess, because like, I mean, Gene's not to the same extent, he's more on the streets of LA, just giving, conversation, the Penelope spheres and all that. But you see the both of them, like, representing Kiss, representing heavy metal, and you wonder where the fuck is Bruce Kulick and Eric Carr, right?
Oh yeah. No, I think Gene especially was like, he was very checked out during those times. Like,
yeah.
It was almost just the Paul Stanley show, and Gene was also there.
Yeah.
They were, I don't know. Yeah, I feel because like they did not, and I remember when I was younger telling my parents like, Paul and Gene, they didn't do drugs, and it's like my parents were like, well, we grew up in that time, every band did, and it's like, no, they didn't. It's like, but it's true, they did it because they liked having the control.
Yeah.
They liked having the control. I mean, their vice was, sleeping with a lot of people, a lot of women. That was their main vice. Their second vice was, being in control of this, having power, having money.
And I really don't like how they moralize about, being a drug addict and all that stuff like that. Like,
oh yeah,
I understand, like, they had their own experiences with Ace and Peter being total, like, wrecks in the late 70s, and that's all well and good, but my first response with that is trying to be as empathetic as I can, rather than just trying to blame their problems on themselves and their own, inability to get better or whatever, like Gene fucking does all the time.
Gene, I saw a thing from Gene in like 2015 where he was doing an interview, and he's like, it was like someone asked him about like, ooh, your stories from on the road, of like, sleeping with women and stuff. And he said something to the effect of like, oh, well, I can't tell some of these stories today because of political correctness. And it's like, well, what do you mean by that? That really sounds like you have some skeletons in your closet. That sounds really bad.
Oh, he's had accusations for sure.
Oh yeah.
A lot of bad rock stars from the 70s had, unfortunately. It's
too many, almost all of them.
It was a different time, for worse.
For worse. Yeah, I mean, like, there are some things that is one realm where, thank God, that is something that is better. And I like, not to get too much into wrestling, but that is a thing that's like, because wrestling has gone through these different phases of like, there was like the drugs, like the 80s was peak cocaine, and like there was this sense of like that things were getting better, and then we found out in 2020 that like, oh, like especially in the UK pro wrestling scene, there are a bunch of people, wrestlers interacted very freely with their fans, and some of them were women, and it went places. And so it's always kind of like, you really hope that things are getting better. And I think now, like, it's just, it's untenable, I think, in some ways. And I think modern musicians, like, I don't know, in the modern space, it's like, it's not as doable, it's not as fun. I think. It's like, you have a lot more to lose by, if you fuck up, if you get caught being awful.
Absolutely.
Like, I think, but I was very impressed by that Music from the Elder thing, and I really did want like a Todd in the Shadows, because I think I just started watching the Train Records one. I really love the, what was it, Ringo the Third? That one is that is a one train wreck of an album.
I think my favorite one that he's done is probably the Crosby, Stills, Nash Young American Dream or American Life, whatever that reunion train wreck was.
I need to put that in my watch later.
Oh my god!
Playlist.
It's such a bizarrely perfect storm of a disaster of an album. Like, all four of like the collaborators contributed to it just being shit.
Also, I need to issue a correction. It was Ringo the Fourth, not Ringo
Oh
the
yeah,
Third.
yeah.
And it is not on Spotify.
I guess he has that little bit of shame.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Welcome,
I think,
Jukebox
yeah.
Cowboy. Welcome to the chat.
Welcome.
Good to see you.
Also, so drums, you got to see Eric Carr. Eric Young is a pro wrestler. Eric Carr on the Crazy Nights tour. That was the last time. Yeah, that would have been his second to last tour, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
I think I really love, because, you know, as much as, you know, like Creatures of the Night, I mean, it is a good album.
Yeah.
It is a good recovery album. Eric's drums on that, they're just so
Yeah. Like
I love that.
Like I said, they had like 3 fucking drum engineers working on that drum sound. I don't know if it was like all like throughout the album or just like they paired together on one song, but just like that shows like the commitment to how like focused they were in getting like the backbeat right, and Eric really did deliver.
Yeah, I think like Eric, you know, when moving into their sound, I mean, as much as those 80s albums go to places that are less good,
Yeah.
like you the drums, the vibrating, echoing, like that I associate that is the sound of Eric Carr.
Unfortunately, Unfortunately, they underutilized him as the 80s went on.
Oh yeah. He was just a guy there. You'd see like a shot of him in the music video, like, yeah, I'm here too.
Yeah.
I have. Paul and Gene have like 10 beautiful women, but I have 2 of my own beautiful women.
Yeah.
And I'm so sad, like, you know, that he did not get to do more singing because he had a great voice. Like him during Black Diamond on the his you know the oh in the streets for a living. Yeah. It's like it sounded so good, and he like, you know, it was its own take that I really enjoyed, and his cover of Beth, you know, it was also good. I think Little Caesar is one of the tracks that I've heard from Hot in the Shade that I'm willing to forgive.
It's honestly one of the better ones on that album for sure.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Paul Stanley tried to fucking pawn that song off to so many artists. He really believed it was a fucking hit.
It's the most like. It is the most manufactured sounding, like the, you know, the hey, it's the Johnny better run. The story.
He asked Desmond Child, write me a Bon Jovi song, and
yeah.
I mean,
how'd it go, buddy?
He did, but it's just it kind of is.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking of those concerts in like the late 80s, like that tour, and he'd be on there and he'd be like, oh, let's do a song off our latest album.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'd do like trying to get them to sing along to the hey, and like you'd just get like a
oh my god.
Yeah.
I'm listening to Dry Kill Logic, underrated band. I've never heard of them. I'll have to write them down. Yeah, I've got like a little pad of like, it's not a note paper. It's actually an instruction guide for like this selfie stick I bought like a few months ago that I'm just sort of writing down all these little recommendations on. I really need to get into listening to my viewers' recommendations more. I remember when I started this, I put together like a big playlist of like all of the bands that I was recommended like on my first stream, and I tried listening through. I think I maybe listened to that once or twice at the gym. Haven't really bothered with it since, unfortunately.
I think I mean, I could drop a couple recommendations myself.
I mean, my problem is just, I don't know, comfortability and the whole, exploring, breaking out of the comfort zone. I find these days I'm far more like I don't know, a bit less adventurous. I'm sort of set in my ways with the artists that I like. I'm a big.
I think that's all of us, really.
Yeah.
Like, I really want to be someone who listens to everything, and I've diversified a lot, as you can see, because I was a stubborn dad rock, alternative rock kid who was like, ugh, Justin Bieber, more like a thing I'm not gonna say.
Yeah. No, I was there too. And I think it really took going to music school to show. Well, when I was in cat college, I was a music major, but what
At
was it?
college.
Yeah, but I think it took being a music major for me to really see that. I don't know, for me to sort of step away from my ego and look at music for what it was
Yeah.
trying to do, what it was, rather than what I wanted it to be,
Yeah, I think for me it was kind of just a diversifying of my taste in media in general and how that happened. Like, for one thing, as a kid, like, I was, this was post, peak Pokemon, pre-Pokemon Go boom.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was still into Pokemon at a time where it was like, aren't you a little too old to be into Pokemon? And I was bullied for that. But through that, I realized, hey, I'm also being a jerk to like these people who like Justin Bieber and One Direction and what have you. Why am I like that?
Yeah.
I want to treat people the way I want to be treated about this stuff. I don't think going after people for their hobbies is very nice. And there are people in their like 30s, 40s, even older, who still don't understand that. And I got that young enough that I've held it, and like, as much as I'm kind of messy and sporadic with diversifying,
Yeah.
I take time to listen. I take time to like, oh, here is a pop album that people say is really good. I'm going to listen to it. Oh, I really like this album. Like, what was it? Hold on, I'm blanking.
No problem.
Was it like, I remember, like, for instance, like, oh yeah, here, that's right, yeah, Janelle Monáe, and like getting into her through like Dirty Computer, and it was like, whoa, there is all this like music that like, I scoffed at
Absolutely.
growing up.
Yeah.
And I'm like, now as an adult, I'm like, well, what am I doing? I am depriving myself of the full spectrum.
Yeah.
And that goes for all hobbies. It goes for like, VTubers as well, where it's like, oh, like, I don't watch these people suck, etc., etc. And it's like, no, I think the whole world of VTubing is full of incredibly talented people who are doing amazing stuff. And I feel that of just all media. When it comes to real people making stuff, there are so many, in every kind of genre and every kind of space, there are people making good shit who deserve love, and they deserve credit for their work.
Yeah. See, it's interesting. Like, are you familiar at all with Professor Sky, the new music review channel hosted by a French professor?
I am not.
He is he's great. Like, I love watching his videos every now and then, and he had one recently where I think he was talking about the concept of guilty pleasures, and he brought up an interesting
I don't like
point.
that concept.
Yeah, I know. Like, me.
Why feel guilty?
He brought up an interesting point, right? Like, guilty pleasures oftentimes sort of mask, casual classism and that sort of stuff, sort of looking like turning your nose down at, like, base things, like trying to, assert your own elitism almost.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like, because I thought I've definitely gotten to that point for years where it is a bugbear when people say guilty pleasure, and it's like this idea of like, oh, I like it even though it's bad. There is this self-defeating self-consciousness about it, but I never thought about it like deeply from that angle of the class of like, oh, it is this lower culture, this normie music. My guilty pleasure is that, like I like this one Taylor Swift song. It's like,
yeah, and he sort of discussed that too in terms of like the term that's going around nowadays, coworker music. And don't get me wrong, I think I've used that term a few times too, or at least
there is a kernel of a concept in there, but you need to be careful how
Yeah.
you're using that.
I don't want to shit on coworkers because sometimes coworkers can be okay,
Yeah, yeah. I have cool coworkers. Yes, I had one who I had a coworker just randomly. I found out that they liked Limp Bizkit, a Japanese coworker, and they were like, I showed a picture of like a friend who had a backwards cap on. It was like, he looks like Fred Durst, and I'm like, no fucking way. You're like a 40-year-old Japanese man, and you listen to Limp Bizkit?
Right on. That is fucking
hell
rad.
yeah. Yeah. It was that was so awesome. It's like, yeah.
I feel like the Japanese really go hard for new metal, like in a way that the West sort of fell out of love with, like
yeah, there are still stylings of new metal in their music. Like I know what's the band Man with a Mission or whatever. He did like the like Log Horizon, Gundam Iron Blooded Orphans and stuff. Their sound is so new metal.
Yeah. I hear like a lot of sort of rap metal sort of stylings with the sort of intonation of a Limp Bizkit, It's
yeah, and people will be like, it's literally like Place Japan, where people will be like, ugh, new metal, and then they hear like Man with a Mission or one of those like anime opens, it's like because it's in Japanese or like it's a Japanese person using English, they're like, yeah, this is banger to the aux cord, yo.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, you just secretly like new metal. Free yourself of the guilt of the guilty pleasure.
Yeah. Sorry, just catching up on chat here. Digging the new one from Cat Temper. Interesting. I've never heard of Cat Temper before, but it's certainly a fitting band for me.
But
Tastes Like Music.
Well,
I don't think I've ever heard of the Taste Like Music channel. I'll have to look into them.
You ever heard of this guy called Anthony Fontana? Yeah.
What a guy. What a guy.
Yeah, he's complicated. I think, there was a period of time around about like 2016, 17 where he was kind of an edgelord and it's like, oh man, fuck this guy.
Yeah.
And he's definitely better than he was, although like sometimes he'll come out with a review and it's like, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
he's baffling now more so in the the standard music critic way, where they'll just come out with a take that you're just like, what?
Yeah, I think people get too hung up on the numbers when it's like, why did your arbitrary internal number system give this a 7 when mine gave it a 10? It's like, okay. But yes, he said some weird stuff, but then he also got people back on his side by talking shit about Ronnie Radke.
Right on. I mean,
people are like, what? He's not
honestly,
a hateful man. It's like, no, he's not.
Honestly, I follow Fantano more for his like commentary and takes and stuff more than his reviews. Like I subscribe to
I
the
don't care for the
Fantano
reviews.
channel and sometimes tune into those live streams, but I guess sometimes I'll watch a Needle Drop review depending on if I need my biases confirmed or whatever. I know he's given King Gizzard some pretty positive reviews in the past, so I'm happy with that.
Yeah, hold on. King Gizzard are Australian, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I really need to, because like I mentioned to any like music nerd I know, it's like Australian. They're like, you listen to King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, and I'm like, no, but I need to.
Yeah, definitely check them out. And while you're at it, check out my video on their live history that only has like 2,000 views, and share it with all your fucking Australian friends, please, for the love of God.
Yeah, mate. How you going? I got this right. It's chock-a-block with some fucking King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, mate.
Yeah,
mate. Let's have a twoies and a shoey and get the goon sacks. And I'm not really like I am so out of touch with Australia.
That's fair.
I can turn it on, but then I'm like, what is I do like what's it? a Australian VTuber I very much love. One of the more Australian VTubers,
Bales?
Sara Nagare.
Oh.
Bales, I love Bales. Bales is one of my all-time faves.
Oh yeah.
But and she's got the great Aussie bogan accent.
Oh yeah.
But like one of them, a smaller VTuber who used to be with Prison Project, Sara Nagare. She's great, and she has like a fake Australian word that her chat uses. That's like chuzzies, and it's like. It's like it's an almost real Australian word. It's like one of those things like Australian would absolutely say some shit like chuzzies.
Yeah.
Chuzzies, like cutting off the second syllable and putting an O.
Absolutely.
You know, Rezo,
Yeah.
Lexo.
Doco, I've heard that for documentaries.
Yeah, Doco, yeah. Yeah, Doco, that's a big one. That's a common one. I think the misconception, though, is, like, Americans do that nar thing, and it's like, they're almost there. But the thing is, we don't do that sound. That is so American, the It's like, they're almost there. It's more of a nah.
I feel like that's sort of the thing. You can't really do that consciously. It's sort of the spirit.
Americans are very bad at Australian accents consistently. They're very bad at comprehending. People will be like, wow, that American doing an Australian accent sounds so good. It's like, no, they don't. They really don't.
Yeah.
Like, you know how Australians say this thing like that? It's like, no. Like, I've heard good Australian impressions, but they're few and far in between.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think I do personally do the nar, but it's like I know that like we don't do the It's like a nah.
Yeah.
It's very delicate. It's very delicate, even though we do it so casually and so broadly.
Yeah,
you know?
Absolutely. a lot of nuances in that.
Yeah, a lot of the sound of the oh no, like it's very like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel because like for me as someone who has so many American friends, so many like ESL, especially like Japanese friends.
Yeah.
And you know, I have very much had to neutralize the way that I speak. Like if I'm talking to another Australian, I might neutralize it less. Like for instance, instead of saying Australian, I'll say Australian. You know, things like that. If I'm talking to, you know, someone who's not Australian, I tend to, I will say shit that's like, oh god, past me. I'm sorry. Like I would say like gas station. I would say parking lot. But I will never say enunciate. I would never say whatever freak word you say for aluminium.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Aluminum always felt natural to me. I don't know.
No, I mean, because it's always what you grew up with, and it's like a lot of Americans they'll be like, no, this way is right because it feels more. It's like, yeah. My way of saying it also feels right for me because I grew up with it.
See, my pet peeve is pronouncing nuclear. I can't stand that.
No, I don't. Yeah, no, nuclear is correct. Yeah, no. But yeah, no, I remember once I asked an American friend who was dating an Australian, like, I showed some aluminium to them, and I asked her, like, what do you call this? And she just said foil.
Huh.
Like, she was not gonna do this. She had done that dance before, and she was not gonna play with that.
There you go, yeah.
Yeah, but my mama Fran, who made this little thing you see on screen, which is very cute. It's not the model I'm using, but it's if I do like get a full non-GB model, I'll definitely be using a lot from this.
Oh yeah.
They're a very dear person to me. We've known each other a good 7 years.
Yeah.
But they will absolutely just go to me and be like aluminum. And if I say aluminum, they'll be like, what are you saying? What's that crazy shit you're saying? I'll be like, shut the fuck up.
Oh my god.
With love.
Yeah. I'll check the channel called The Charismatic Voice. I don't think I have, but that does sound interesting how you describe it. I don't know. I'm not the sort that really that analyzes, vocals too in depth.
Oh, it's one of those like it's a React channel. Yeah, there are so many of those vocal React channels, and I'm trying to find the ones who are like really actually know, because like as someone who I can't play any instruments, but I can sing. Mm-hmm. That is my one thing, and I'm quite happy about that. but yeah, like sometimes there are varying levels of quality with these music react channels, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So but yeah, like I I feel bad because it's like I can sing, but I just I don't. I once tried to take music lessons, and it might have been just the teacher, but I did not take well to it. So it was like,
Mm-hmm.
maybe it's the instruction, but it's like, for instance, I can belt pretty high, but I cannot do it without hurting myself.
Yeah.
Like I have like trying to get like so it's not in the throat is really it's not easy for me.
It's a struggle, yeah. I took vocal lessons back when I was in college, and I think my vocal range at its absolute peak, I don't know if it's regressed at all, but I was like a 10 or 2, and I remember trying to push up there, but I don't know, it's hard to train your voice, especially I don't know, like when I was taking lessons, it was very much the classical method, and I wanted to belt, but I don't know, my teacher was very insistent.
Yeah, I think a lot of teachers can be very like, you have to get the classics, the fundamentals. I don't know, like, I feel like I need to at some point get something going, like, because I
Yeah.
will absolutely be doing covers. I have a thought. I did a Christmas karaoke stream. I don't know if I saved the VOD,
Oh
but
yeah.
like that was a lot of fun. And I'm also having the idea in my brain of like eventually doing like an 100-song karaoke endurance.
Mm-hmm.
I say while still needing to finish my Super Mario Bros. 3 endurance.
Have you written a lot of any original songs at all?
No, I've never done like original songs. It is all just like kind of covers. I feel like I don't know, like I'm not yet at the level where I feel confident, like because I feel when it comes to producing, writing music, writing creative, I feel you expose yourself a bit.
Mm.
It's and like I feel like being on the other side of the fence of like being more of like writing about it and talking about it is like it is perhaps the more cowardly place to be, but it is a place where I don't know, but at some point I really do, even just doing VTubing, it's like
Yeah.
it took years for me to get to the point where it's like I will actually do the thing that I have been thinking about and watching for years and years. But
Yeah.
it would be, when I do music, it will probably be covers, like to start with at least. I want to record stuff, I want to do karaoke streams. I want to actually like try to get good at, or at least passable at audio mixing.
Yeah. I mean, hey, there's no shame in ever like contracting out
Oh, yeah,
people to
yeah.
help you if you want,
Whether I can afford it is the thing.
Yeah, if you want to get like a songwriting team together. I know people tend to stigmatize that, but I don't think there's any shame in like putting together a good pop song.
I would not, like, for me, I feel like just leaving me on my own, I would need someone to help me at least
Yeah.
in the first place. I do not write music.
Right.
That's not where I can recognize good music.
Yeah.
I can sing. I can't produce. I can't mix. I can't write music.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but I would absolutely try to get people to help me. I probably know some people who can help me, who I could commission.
Mm-hmm.
But I think my music taste, getting kind of back on the main topic, it's kind of, it goes all over the place. But I think like two of my most recent phases, and you put it in the thumbnail, in recent years, there was a phase of a few years where I was listening to a lot of Weezer, and I joked before we started the call, like, right, so we're gonna talk about Weezer for 2 minutes, right? But yeah.
I mean, I was very much a Weezer fan back in the day too. Like, I think my Weezer fandom really was like, it was right around the time they put out Everything Will Be Alright in the End, and they were sort of trying to go back to their whole, emo-ish, alternative sort of stuff. Before they went and covered fucking Africa, but that's
they kind of go up and down. They're very much like, I think of them as like the Sonic the Hedgehog of music, of like they have hit everything on the spectrum. I think I was talking about it while streaming yesterday. Like, they have fucking masterpieces. They have really good albums. They have pretty good albums. They have regular good albums. They have kinda good. They have kind of alright. They have mid albums. They have kind of bad albums. They have laughably bad albums. They have boring bad albums. Like, they have the whole spectrum, baby.
Yeah. But I I really, did connect with that whole sort of, lonely sort of nerd making rock music in his guitar
Yeah.
in the garage, that sort of vibe of Weezer. It got to a point though, just following that with I mean, I really I did love Everything Will Be Alright in the end, and even White Album had some great stuff to an extent. But after the fact, I've heard that some of Weezer's more recent albums are decent, but I just don't want to get burned again. Is the thing,
I think of their albums, I think for me, I try not to invest too much, but I think of their 2010s and 2020 albums, the holy trinity of albums that I would say are at least a 7 or an 8 out of 10 in my arbitrary number rating. So nobody could say, why did you give this? I would give it a but no.
Yeah.
But it would be Everything Will Be Alright in the end. It would be White Album, and it would be their 2021 album, Okay Human. That album I absolutely recommend.
I've heard that was a good one. It was like
it is.
It's like acoustic and orchestral.
Yes,
is that right?
all acoustic. All acoustic. It is kind of more. There are no electric guitars. It is more. It's kind of like Baroque poppy, like very much like COVID, like depression.
Yeah.
Like it's there are some tracks that it's like he never got to the level of vulnerability that he was on like in Pinkerton, but he like Okay Human is like the closest thing to that, of him talking about the mundanity of his life. And like I think like the second track on that album I love, and the single's pretty good. All my favorite songs are slow and sad. Like the second song, like it's got such a the chorus goes like oh my god, what's happening? Like it is the most vulnerable that he has ever been since Pinkerton. Although as always with Rivers, it's like you don't know sometimes how much of it is real and how much isn't. But it is, there are lines where he's like, there are lines that are like, the weirdest shit he's written since Pinkerton. Like, I haven't washed my hair in 3 weeks was one line.
Rivers Cuomo
like,
is an enigma. I
don't
think I'll ever understand
weird guy.
that man.
He is kind of I don't know. He's kind of got that kind of Peter Pan thing. He's like, like where he'll never grow up.
Yeah.
He's got a little bit of a, and like his Twitter, he's an interesting guy. Like he's not a completely with it self-aware shit poster, but he's trying to be with it. And it's funny. It's charming in its own way. It's weird in other ways. But 2021, Okay Human, that is the one album that I think you should absolutely go and listen to. The others, there are ups and downs. Like I think there seasons albums. Like there are, those are kind of they're fine.
You're not a fan of Van Weezer?
Van Weezer's, it's alright. There are some good songs, but then there are other songs where it's like, there's one song, Blue Dream, I think it was, where they just straight up do crazy. He just straight up does Crazy Train. Like, not only do they start with the do 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 do, but they also go to the verse, the do 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 do. It's like it's so kind of like cringe of like God. You've been doing this for so long. Like I get you doing the like you could have just stopped at the do 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 do, but no, they go into the do 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 do, and the song goes off in a direction, but it takes like there's like a solid 30 seconds of it's just Crazy Train.
Oh my God. I just think it's so ridiculous that they named an album Van Weezer. Like
it's so corny, and the fact that the album was on the back burner for so long because of COVID. Because they wanted to plan around actually being able to perform the songs live. The fact that they still put out that album with that album cover, it really feels like an album that needed more time, but they gave it time. I feel like the 2 years or whatever where it was on the back burner, they did not do anything with it. They just left
Yeah.
it totally untouched. And yeah, then they put out the Seasons albums, which they've kind of got ups and downs.
Yeah,
Oh, they're all
yeah.
none of them are full albums. They're all like 20, 25 minutes each.
Yeah.
But you start off the quadrilogy with Shakespeare makes me happy. Shakespeare makes me happy. So happy, and I'm happy to be with you.
Oh
So
my
like,
god.
yeah, yes, that is on a, like he's straight up doing like the
Interpolation.
and then yeah, there are some really funny lines on there. That is, I don't think anything tops Shakespeare makes me happy. But it's got like medieval like do 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 do. And he's like Shakespeare makes me happy. That's like
Yeah.
the spring album, and it's yeah. I think the last album, the winter album, is maybe the best. The first song of that, which is also like kind of got a silly. It's called "I Want a Dog," and it's about how as a kid, like he wanted a dog, but he
Aw.
never got a dog, and it's like a really sad. I mean, wintry song. I mean, now's the time to listen to it. But it's like, I want a dog. But it's genuinely like a great song, despite being like, because it feels like a little. It's Weezer. It is Weezer
Yeah.
for sure. It is a more angsty end, but yeah, if you listen to anything, OK Human, because it is yeah, the instrumentation is genuinely very beautiful. I do like, you know, Baroque pop kind of sounding stylings.
Absolutely, yeah. And I mean,
it's yeah.
Rivers does take in heavy inspiration from Brian Wilson and all those guys.
Oh yeah.
I'm surprised it took him this long to make his own sort of Pet Sounds analog.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, he goes all over the place. I think I do appreciate that as much as like you know, there are some real lows. He is open to kind of any kind of sound, like, you know, I think, and there are times where they really achieve it. Like, I know Black Album is not a good album. It is an absolute snore fest. But like, I really like 2 songs off of that, and one of them, and it's a really corny song, and it's called Can't Knock the Hustle.
Yeah.
And it's like, but it's like, it's got this kind of like Latin pop kind of sound to it. It's like 90s Latin, like dance, like bo bo ba da bo da do ba bo 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 ba 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 ba. And I unironically fuck with that. Like, even if there are lines like, I'm an ugly motherfucker, but I work hella harder, and you can write a blog about it. Yeah, but it's yeah, that song, I genuinely love it, even if, I mean, well, honestly, like, bad Weezer lyrics are, I love that shit so much, because there are different kinds of bad Weezer lyrics. There is the TMI ones, and there is the what's going on in your brain. There's the out of touch ones. There are the corny ones, and there are the I didn't need to know that ones.
At least he will never write a song like I'm Your Daddy ever again. Fingers fucking crossed.
Yeah, or I mean, but I do hope he does another Can't Stop Partying.
Fucking bring back Lil Wayne.
Okay, bitches, Weezer, and it's Wheezy. Upside Down MTV. No, that Ratitude. I will put Ratitude over their, was it Make Believe, the one with Beverly Hills?
Really?
Because I can laugh about Ratitude. I feel Make Believe just like, it is like them kind of going for like a very baseline modern rock pop sound for all of the 2000s, and I feel like those songs, a lot of them kind of go in through one ear and out the other for me.
I can understand that.
Beverly Hills is bad song, real bad song. And then there's the other Perfect Situation where the chorus is just singing. Yeah, no. But like for Ratitude, there is one song I really like, and it's the opener. I think that song is really.
Oh yeah,
fun.
if
It's
you
really
want me
cute.
to,
If
that's a
you're
fine song.
wondering If I want you to. Yeah, I love that. Just, you know, the little silly corny tale of like 2 people who have feelings for each other, and they both kind of know it, but it's like, which one of us is gonna say it? That's yeah.
Yeah.
Although I heard from a friend, like, because there's a line there about him allegedly taking his wife to Best Buy on a date, and when he was asked about that, he's like, I've never been to Best Buy. So like someone tried to interview him and try to get something out of those lyrics, and it was like they got nothing. They got nothing.
You'll never pierce the veil of Rivers Cuomo.
After Pinkerton, no way. After Pinkerton, he only lets you in what he wants you to know, and
Yeah.
sometimes you learn things you wish you didn't. But you know, he there is always some, like, you know, there is always a little bit of a you'll never get the answers from me on this question.
Yeah. Also, welcome back, Matt Curdy. Yes, we did get the audio issues sorted. I am
Yes, we did.
I'm very upset that I'm probably gonna have to go back after this stream and edit the VOD, but it's whatever.
Yeah. It is what it is. Oh man.
What was it?
Yeah.
I think oh yeah. So I guess we could talk a bit about, you know, what you do as a VTuber. What inspired you to become a VTuber?
Okay, so I think for me, you know, I was, you know, it was like me, 2020 was 2020.
Yep.
And it started off very casually, like a lot of people were. I'd get the funny HoloLive clips. I'd get Korone,
Yep.
I'd get Hachama. I think Korone and Hachama were the big ones, also Miko.
Yep.
And then Hollow Myth debuted, and I started watching a little more with Hollow Myth. You know, and then it was, yeah, around about mid 2021, I saw the debuts of Obsidia, the second wave of Nijisan DEN, and I saw them, and back then, you know, Nijien was like very humble, very small feeling. Their mics were not quite as good as they are now.
Yeah.
Their setups were, it was a little bit more scuff. It was a little bit more like, I don't know, that was such a different time.
Yeah.
And it was very humble feeling, and it felt very like, you know, compared to like the polish of HoloLive, and that is, I say polish, although HoloLive in 2021, like the Hollow Myth people,
No, absolutely.
I mean, they also had early days scuff as well.
Yeah.
But like, I think watching those streams and kind of having a more humble live audience of, you know, which is still a lot of people, of like a couple hundred, and like getting that more real, intimate experience, and then kind of going from there and seeing like small corpos like R.I.P. Tsundaria, but like yeah, like seeing this small, you know, like Prism and Tsundaria, I watched a lot of like them. I remember when they debuted their last wave, Dream, with you know, a great music VTuber, Tomoya, very sweet guy. They've, you know, Lisa and Nen, and yeah, that was my first time seeing, you know, VTubers who were not just cute girls.
Right, yeah.
And just kind of seeing that, and then I kind of tried to take a stab at things in 2021, just because, like, I think it was more like a, how do you say it? I was pretty miserable in my job at the time, and I was kind of like just seeing VTubing as like, oh, this is, I can do this instead, and it's like I put out some truly horrific auditions. And yeah, like, but it was I gradually over the years, like, the idea was in the back of my head. I've had this Alexis Kunzite account up for a while. I've had, like, I got this model finished and commissioned for me by Fran Eshtart, shout out to Fran Eshtart, in 2022, and I was uploading little covers, but I never really, like, little acapella covers, but I never fully committed. But I think for me, what drew me to it was the diversity of it, the feeling of, like, I had all of these different things that I felt I could give to VTubing. That, you know, because it feels like you can do anything as a VTuber. I mean, you know, like, you can do what you do, like the video essays and stuff. You can sing, you know, if you speak Japanese, you can, you know, you can get pretty far with, like, you know, in, like, the Japanese VTuber space. you know, if you can, you know, for me, like in my real life work, I spend a lot of time getting up in front of people and talking.
Mm-hmm.
And that is something that, you know, I know how to fill in dead air. I try to limit my ums and ahs, that, you know, even if I don't always succeed.
Right. Yeah.
But, you know, I feel like I have, you know, all these like disparate skills, and I feel like, you know, things that I really enjoy doing. Like for me, me going to karaoke, like, you know, like when you're in Japan going to karaoke, like for me it's always like I'd always have to be like to my friends like, can we get a karaoke, can we get a karaoke? And it's like I'd be in a group of like 5 people, and like 3 of them would be like, yeah, let's go, and then one of them would be like, I don't know, I've got a bit of a cold, so it's like, and so like getting the chance to, I really feel happy that, you know, seeing all of these amazing talented people do so many different things, like, you know, I think also, you know, for example, seeing like Mori Calliope doing, you know, getting signed to like a major record label, making her own music. And, yeah, you know, like there are parts of her discography that I look back on and I'm like, it's not my favorite stuff.
Yeah, no,
but, I mean, but
I've actually
she's improved a lot though. So.
I've actually thought, you know, if slash when the day comes where she eventually graduates, I want to be the guy who makes the big career retrospective for her. Like I would absolutely be interested in that. I feel like she is definitely that could be a while though. Yeah.
She's, you know, she is in deep. She is very much like yeah.
I don't know, plus I don't know how the efficacy thing would be, you know, doing that plus, you know, her other projects, so to speak.
Yeah, it's a matter, I think it is more a matter of like, is she okay with it? Yeah, I think because like some people, they, you know, they know who they are, of like, this person's that person, here's a clip of them talking about you know, a manager who accidentally took their lunch out of the fridge and ate it. And like whatever, like these channels are just like, they're this person, and like there have been at least 1 or 2 cases of like, for instance, like say you're a former corporate VTuber and you have a semi IRL account, and you're like, hey, please be normal, please don't say that my IRL account is this person, because they're not. You know.
Sorry to interrupt real quick. I'm just gonna respond to some chat messages again.
Yeah, no problem.
Rivers' first band's interesting. Oh yeah, no. Rivers Cuomo played fucking glam metal in Los Angeles when he first moved there.
Yeah, I've seen the pictures of him with the glam hair.
That's something that I really want to bring up in the next part, is how many fucking musicians, alternative rock musicians, grunge musicians, got their start doing hair metal. It's more than you think.
Pantera as well? Like, they a glam band at first?
Pantera, yeah, and Alice in Chains too. They started off very, like, more glammy, like, heavy metal-y.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it was.
Yeah, and then there's the massive cultural shift, and they're like, okay, now we gotta stop getting our hair done. Yeah, we gotta let it get all mangy and flat.
Exactly. At least they were early enough to the game where they realized they could change their sound without being signed to a major label. That would have been. That they weren't locked into playing hair metal.
Yeah, I think I always like because I listen to like 70s music and 90s music, I always kind of look down a bit on hair metal, because it's like, it is the thing that, like, you know, some metalheads, you know, they sneer at it of like, oh, you put on makeup, you have nice hair, you're wearing pink. There was
there was a lot of homophobia in that scene.
Yeah, I mean, even the people even the musicians themselves, I mean, they always, even with their glam stylings, you know, it was the 80s, and so they had to also be like, I'm not gay, I'm not gay, I'm not gay.
Yeah.
To this day, you know, God, I you know, I mean, just not to get too much into like tricky topic, but of like, you know, Dee Snider kind of being like, you know, not being a very good trans ally,
Uh,
suffice to say, and then being like, but I'm an ally. You need
I mean,
to
like Paul
respect
Stanley
everything I've
too.
done for you.
Didn't he
Oh
say that
god.
shit about
Yeah,
like
he said
fucking
some shit, and then he walked it back in a very vague, non-committal way, where it's like he is saying nothing,
like, bro,
and
you
it's like,
literally went on
look at
stage with like
you.
a fucking star, like what, like black star
Yeah,
eye
and
and
in your
fucking red
later,
lipstick.
yeah, and in your later years, you know, like you're making out with yourself on stage and smacking your own ass, like, you know, come on, man, like
uh,
you're, you know, like that's, you know, seeing Paul Stanley with the makeup and the lipstick and the hair, like that was very, as you know, in my teen years, that was gender to me.
Yeah.
That was like a, oh, you could be this cool rock and roll guy, but also do this, and it's like, well, I guess Paul Stanley doesn't feel that way.
It's very, very bizarre.
Yeah, but they're boomers. Oh, actually, they're
Yeah.
probably, are they older than boomers? I think they might be.
Boomers, Gen
Generation.
Xers, that sort of age range.
They're definitely not Gen X. They'd be, I think they're
Yeah.
boomers.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? Yeah, you probably. Oh yeah, Trippy. If you're still here in chat, I'm not quite sure. I can't give you a definitive premiere date for part 2. I'm trying to get the script finished by next month with hopes of a March release date somewhere in that window. But you know, I think get distracted. I need to get more research. Well, not research. I need to do the voiceover. I need to do the editing. It's a lot of moving parts that I need to focus on. And you know, being a small time creator and having a job on the side, you know.
It'd be like that.
Yeah, I'm trying not to give excuses or anything, so if it sounds like that, I do apologize. But you know, I do. I rest assured, I am still hard at work on the script. I'm still, you know, doing the like I said earlier in the stream. I watched Decline of Western Civilization Part 2 earlier this week, so Glam Metal Part 2 is still very much a is still very much a thing that's happening. It's just, you know, Jesus, you know, Alexis, if you're ever going to get into video essays, do not
Eventually.
do not bite off more than you can fucking chew, because like,
I'm just gonna be, because like my things like I have in my mind are gonna start off very light, because like the idea of trying to do like what the length of videos that you do and the length of research, I'm just like my eyes kind of glaze over. I do have in the currently working on, because I played through Sonic Superstars, and I'll probably be doing a little, probably only like a 5-minute video, just like giving my thoughts on that as a kind of a test run.
Okay.
Like, you know, I do have like other lengthier things I want to talk about, but I have, you know, I have other platforms, and I'm like, do I want to put it here? Do I want to put it there?
Of course.
And it's like, you know, where is the ideal place to put this? I do kind of want the, as far as like what I'm putting out here on this channel to be more like more fun, more interesting, more like, you know, more possibly like eventually into that more research, getting less into, you know, I want to be able to not say things that could get me in trouble.
Yeah, no, it's it is definitely a balancing act with that, and I'm no stranger to quoting controversy myself. I mean, like, when it comes to telling history, I also majored in history in Cat College, so like I know, like, when it comes to like history and the historical record, there is no real such thing as fact or truth. I mean, they're like, yeah,
there are truths, plural.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's all how you like tell the story, really. And like that's what I'm so engaged in with history, is like being able to find like all these nuggets of information from the past, hopefully even stuff that people don't often talk about, and weaving it into my own sort of tapestry and interpretation of it all, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely, yeah. I think for me, one of my majors was media studies, and so I am very much in the realm of like, you know, the media industries, the culture surrounding it, the kind of the social and class and so on, the internal politics, the you know, all of that stuff to me is the really juicy stuff, you know,
Mm.
how, you know, in the VTubing industry of like, you know, discourse around like past lives,
Yeah.
you know, talk the social constructs of how, you know, there is a lot to be said with VTubing of like where it has the potential to be this transcendent thing,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time we are caught in these structures. We are caught in like, you know, there is a social order here. There is like, here is the cool right way to do VTubing that will get you to that next level.
Yeah.
And here is the thing that maybe, you know, puts a ceiling on you. Like,
Yeah.
and that, you know, that there are, that is, to me, that is a really juicy subject, but one where it's like, this is an industry where people talk. They talk about each other. And so you
Yeah.
kind of have to be careful about naming names. And so I want to try and avoid that. I
Yeah.
want to try and say things that will not get me in trouble with people, that are as respectful as I can be and are not.
Bitches
Yeah,
be
like I
catty.
really want to. Yeah. Yeah, I am, yeah. I don't want to just be you know, I want to try and be not a gossip or a drama. If I'm ever going to do commentary on VTubing, which I might not do, I might not do it at all. Like, if I actually talk about the VTuber industry, I want to avoid gossip. I want to avoid that kind of commentary. I want to avoid getting into the really messy stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
But at the same time, I also don't want to be a coward. I do not want to be non-committal. I do not want to be utterly spineless and just let things happen, because
you gotta
I feel
make
like
sure you're
people
saying you gotta make sure you're saying your shit right, but you know, you gotta stand by your truth.
Yeah, it's a delicate balancing act. There are things I feel there are things you gotta say, there are things better left not saying, and so on, and trying to find the in between. It's tricky.
I mean, yeah, it's like
the
thing that I struggle with sometimes with my videos, you know, there's arguably there's definitely a sizable boomer Gen X demographic who doesn't react so strongly to my analysis of, you know, the social angle or any of the politics involved in it. And I've just sort of made peace with the fact that it's inevitable that I'm going to alienate some of them with that, but I've just gotta, you know, that stuff happened. It's there in the in the sources that I found.
I feel like
at the very least mention it.
True. I feel that with boomers, it's kind of like, well, you know, they're not in the YouTube content creation game whispering to people, being like, hey, blah, 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 blah. So at least you have that. Also, Lamp Devil, you have so many other passions, you could easily make stuff about those. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, for me, actually doing it is the thing. Like, I can just off the cuff be like, here's a subject, I am thinking about it, I'm hyper fixated on it now. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. No, like, but like the actual act of like, and I've actually been writing a bit more, because like I do have my Sonic Superstars thing coming up. I have a couple other little essays that I have in like currently working on that I'm like, yeah, will I put this out, won't I? But I have been writing a bit more consistently. So like I have gone into the habit of at least starting, of trying to get in like, you know, like 100 words a day or something like that, at least, just that very minimum baseline. And also trying to, you know, stream, trying to keep up, like do my job and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
So I've been, you know, it feels like 2025 in some regards I am off to a good start of like I am actually doing the things. Fuck, I mean, VTubing itself, I put it off for so long, and then I start doing it, and it's like all of these worries I had about, you know, dealing with tech, getting a model and so on, my presentation, like it's all kind of sorted itself out a lot quicker than I thought it would. Like I feel and also like I always had the thing in the back of my mind of like, would I even really enjoy doing this? And yes I do. I you know, I like to yap. I like to, you know, just wanna play video games. Now that's a band we need to talk about. No. God. But like I have so many things that I can use in VTubing that I realize now that I've actually gotten off, and it's like just knowing people, trying to get past that dead zone of like literally 0 people in chat. Like that is the hardest part. But once you get like 2 or 3 people in chat and you have someone talking, suddenly
Absolutely.
it's like you actually, the ball starts rolling, and you're getting in a lot of practice. It is I'm very comfortable just having like 3 people in chat, because that's enough that I can forge my skills. I can get better at talking. I can embarrass myself in front of fewer people if there's tech issues.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I feel like I am in a good place where I am mostly watched by people I know, and that I can kind of forge things and forge my skill. Forge, not as in the good kind, not the counterfeiting.
And honestly,
No, like
that's honestly what matters when it comes to being a
Yeah.
VTuber. I mean, like, obviously, yeah, if you want to be like a successful VTuber and grind to become like, live on it or whatever, that's all well and good. But I really do take joy in building community and,
Yeah.
getting good at what I'm good at and just sort of, building from there.
Yeah, I think like I am trying to do things that are in the realm of like, like I've started making schedules. I've started doing a little bit of. I think that was a good clip from Randon.
Oh, yeah.
The big old orc guy.
Yeah. I
Um,
was actually
yeah,
watching his Balatro stream earlier, funny enough.
yeah. He's got like a little clips with this like very like sagely wisdom about making it as a VTuber that I think is very good. And one of the things he said is like the variety streamers you see in the big corpos, they did not get to where they are by just being variety streamers. They had something else going on. They had one thing, like, there are people who got bigger streamers just by there are people who got bigger streamers just by doing like one thing, playing one game.
Yeah.
And so like, or trying to do something because you want to do it. And I mean, I am doing a bit of the variety streaming thing, but I feel like I am enjoying it. I feel like I'm doing it my way, where I'm like, okay, I have one game, and this is a game I'm going to be playing through.
Yeah.
And currently, that is Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. Great game. But yeah, no. And working on things because I really want to, because I enjoy it, and I feel like I feel an actual passion for trying to improve what I'm doing. Like going back over a stream and being like, oh, my audio sounds a little bit fucked. What can I do to make that better? Oh, these graphics I have, they could be a bit better. Let's fix that.
Yeah.
Oh, like the little incremental changes like that of just things that it's like, oh, I can start doing this, I can start doing that, and feeling like the progress. Because when I started out, it's like I had the idea of needing to get all those things right at once, and it's like, no, I don't. And I'm kind of in a good. There's a little bit of a grind, but it's like I am passionate about this grind.
Hell yeah.
Of like, I feel like I enjoy watching myself improve. I enjoy feeling like I'm a real VTuber.
And that's the best place
like,
to be, Honestly, it kills the imposter syndrome just to act and do and all that stuff.
Absolutely, yeah. I feel, and to have people who are like telling me, like, oh, like, because like friends coming to your stream is one thing, but the friends sticking around for hours and being really engaged, it's like, oh. And friends being like, oh, I actually really enjoyed the stream. It's like, whoa, I actually entertained someone. That's crazy. It's a marathon, not a race. You're right, Lamb Devil. Absolutely.
By the way, thank you, Matt Curdy and Trippy, for the kind words. I'm really glad that my Glam series is quite well received.
Yeah, I need to get on that. I am very interested in it.
Oh, thank you. I mean, I've known for a little bit that I think the core demographic of my channel, ever since the Kiss videos really took off, has been people, people that really are into that sort of crunchy, hard rock, very sort of...
Not necessarily VTuber fans.
Yeah. And I mean, not necessarily like... it's my sort of music, like King Gizzard. Like I've tried a few times to put videos up, and I'm trying to say this in a way that's not as salty as possible. But my fans don't really like King Gizzard, and that's all well and good. I just do those sort of for myself.
That's yeah. I am lucky that, you know, like with where I'm studying, I feel like I am on a good wavelength with the people in my audience. But I feel yeah, like I've got friends like that where they they have like it's kind of weird that is something that is changing with VTubing, and it's a conversation that really started to come up. You know, not to get too much into drama, but like with the recent, you know, like graduations and HoloLive, where people are
Yeah,
starting to
yeah.
be like, you know, this corpo model is not the only thing you can be. I remember there was a great clip, and I need to find it again,
Oh yeah.
for of Rin Penrose, who used to work with Idol Corp,
Oh yeah.
and she like really got into like of, you know, sh- said something to the effect of like, I feel like VTubing is going to change a lot. I
Yeah.
feel like people are going to realize that VTubing is not just a format and like it is a way of doing things that you can do anything with. You can make
Absolutely.
any kind of content with it, like video essays. And I really want like VTuber video essayists to explode
Me
within
too.
VTubing, but like also getting out of this like idea of being you're a VTuber with VTuber fans doing VTuber stuff. That is
Yeah.
not the only way to do things. You can just be a creator who happens to be a VTuber.
Like part of the
And having
thrill of running this channel has been being basically the first VTuber some people have encountered, right? Like
yeah,
get a lot of boomers who, you know, are into Kiss but might not have ever heard of VTubing, you know, coming across this anime cat boy, and you know, there you go.
yeah, absolutely, yeah. That's a really yeah. I've never heard of any VTuber getting big with, or yeah, getting a following with boomers. Like that is actually an achievement. 'Cause, like I know people who have gotten followings like you know, my friend Safara
Yeah,
Dinoma,
yeah.
who does some great little commentary things about VTuber drama bits and pieces. Although she's kind of taken a step back, you know,
Mm.
because life, job stuff.
Right, right.
But like she her audience is not necessarily VTuber fans. She is like she does videos about VTubing, but like the people who watch them and the people who come to her are people on the outside wanting to know about VTubers, and you know, she carved a little niche with that.
That's
That is,
awesome.
you know, yeah, it is really awesome, and that is something like I'd be happy with that. Like where you can be in a niche where like not necessarily where like you're, because like as I mentioned before, there are people in this industry, in the VTuber industry, who talk and they gossip and they,
Yeah.
you know, they will kind of sometimes push people out,
Yeah.
and so being in that space where you are not reliant on I am a VTuber with VTuber fans,
Yeah.
it's an ideal place to be in.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's a lot of toxicity in the VTuber scene every now and then.
Oh, yeah.
I just love doing my own thing and trying to
Yes,
spread
I feel-
positivity how I can.
Being on the other side, I will say being on the other side has given me, like, really gotten me to a point of, wow, this is really awesome. Going to my, like, small VTuber friends' chats and stuff, and hanging out there, and them coming to my chats,
Yeah.
and just being on the other end and being, like, the entertainer who's having fun and playing video games and stuff, like,
That's where
that,
community
and
is.
singing songs. Yeah, it's like, wow, this is, you know, this is fun. This is great. I feel, you know, there is something very fun and joyful here that
Mhm.
I can, you know, I am in my own space and I've got a little something, and that's awesome
Yeah.
to me. Yeah, VTubing is good actually. You're right. And also, Matt, I also agree about the downfall of Kiss. Great series.
Yeah. It's a ridiculously fun thing to do. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I-
There is a lot of work involved, but like I really feel it's worth it.
Yeah. I'm curious to know, Alexis, if you have any dream goals or collabs with VTubing.
Oh boy. Huh. That's I think so my
Like, do you want to
I guess
eventually
there's a
perform
few-
concerts or anything like that?
well, that I would, yeah, I mean that feels like it is so far off, but like
Yeah.
I am not, I'd like to do that. I would not be against doing that. I
Right.
really My current goal is, and I will say I am more active on Twitch, twitch.tv/Alexis Kunze.
Right.
My short-term goal is I am almost at 100 followers. My longer-term goal, which is a little more of a stretch, is to get to 1,000 within the year. I want to be able to, and so I'm gonna be kind of pushing for that, but pushing in a way that's like where I'm doing things I enjoy. I want to, in a few months when I get my bonus, I'm gonna pay to like get more assets. I'm gonna commission more assets to get like a cool new logo and a background and so on, overlays, and so like I want to have that good, nice VTuber presentation. My mic that I currently have, it does the job, but I think I could do better. Things like that, really getting to a point where it's like I have the setup of that, I have at least a fraction of the quality of like people who make it big, and feeling I don't know if I can make like a full-time thing out of this. It's but I want to at least get to a point where it's like it would be nice if this was like it's my little side thing where I am doing these personal projects of covers and maybe concerts, putting out videos and stuff, to having like a cozy little audience, and being able to make like just maybe like like $100 a month or something like that.
That's
just
honestly
on the side.
That's honestly the life. Like I love having a little Patreon, like a little bit of pocket change coming in every month from that.
Yeah, that's something I would be very happy to have, like that I am in a comfy enough place where it's just a little something, because I mean, I need that money, first of all, but second of all, like really having a thing that I can make, because I was thinking about changing jobs. My current job also offers me the time to make stuff, and so I'm probably gonna stick with my current job for another year, and then use what time I have to really try to build this and see where I can go, where this can be kind of like ideally I want this to be like my passion outlet that I can do on the side. Even if I'm not gonna get signed to even like a small corporate, even if I'm not gonna get to like ever get to like 10,000 subscribers or followers and have 100 people in chat, like, and make like make a full-time living. I mean, 100 people in chat is not, I don't know how many people make full-time, but even if I don't get to that point, like I want to have a little something. I want this to be like a side passion that is, it is kind of like a second job, and it is where I really get to do the stuff, I can do the things that I want to do.
By the way, hi Rhubarb.
Hello.
Rhubarb, I don't know if you know about them, Alexis. They were the guest on my previous stream. They're really interesting. They're like like VTuber song translator, essentially. They're like a Japanese singer-songwriter that helps with like song translations. Really cool people.
I am gonna go follow.
No. If you ever need help like translating like Japanese song lyrics or whatever, they're your person.
私にとって、10年間日本語を勉強してるから大丈夫かもしれない。I've studied Japanese for 10 years. I'm really fine. Translation, I've studied Japanese for 10 years, so like I think I'd be okay with doing it myself.
I don't know.
Yeah, there is a lot of student debt.
There is a lot of nuance in translation too.
Oh, like, yes. It is something like actually just being able to feel it out is one thing, but actually that is I definitely need to. That is another thing I've wanted to do, and another skill I have that I can use in VTubing is speaking Japanese. And being able to like, be a kind of an do translation bits and pieces, even just like do collabs with Japanese VTubers, which is like not that is something that's pretty far off, or if at all possible. But like it is something where it's like, oh, I can do this. I have the skills to do this. And I had these disparate skills that it's like, what do I do with all this? How do I make money with all this stuff I can do? And it's like, oh,
Yeah.
VTubing, I could do all that stuff.
God.
Whether I make money is another question, but I got a little, I've got a 4 whole subscribers on Twitch, which is awesome.
There
That's
you
like,
go.
that's crazy. Like, I
Yeah.
never thought I'd get to 1.
Exactly.
So like,
That's a very
that's a solid $10 a month or something.
it's a very, very, very surreal feeling when you get like your first donation, your first like Patreon sub.
Yeah.
Like
People
People-
want to pay for you.
Yeah, exactly. What was I gonna say? There was something I had on my mind. It'll probably come back to me. Had something to. Oh, that's right. I was going to talk about my own. I really want to. If it were possible, if I had the free time, I would really love to learn Japanese on the side. But I just feel like there's so much complexity involved with that.
Oh yeah, it is I think one of the hardest between English and Japanese. There is so much difference in nuance. I've heard Chinese is a little bit harder on average, but all in all, yeah, like Japanese is up there. It's at least top 3
Like-
as far as like sheer amount of time and the difference and how you convey points and cultural nuances. I mean, the cultural nuances are the craziest part. Like that is, there is with JLPT levels, like the highest is N1, the lowest is N5. N1's like super advanced, but people often joke about JLPT N0, and it's like, where it's like these social situations where it's like, do you say this or this? And it can be quite brutal. But I feel like if you're gonna learn Japanese, do not think about that stuff, or try not to think about that stuff at the end. That takes you get there to the nuances, and I'm still fighting to get to there. But like, it took, I've been doing this over 10 years, and there are points where I felt absolutely useless, and I felt like I wasn't getting better. But like, it is a slow, steady process, and you start small, and boy, have I got a cavalcade of resources that I can go. If I was starting out, here is what I would do. Like I can answer that question. I am very always eager to just like send these to people, being like, here's this cool website called Tofugu, and they have this cool app for studying kanji called Wanikani that you start from 0, and here are the textbooks I used. You don't have to use textbooks, but also here is an app that's like Duolingo but way better than Duolingo.
My roommate, God bless him, he's been super dedicated on the side to learning Japanese himself. Like I've walked past the living room. He's got like some Japanese textbooks resting there sometimes, and I pass him.
I'm guessing it's the old Genki textbooks.
I didn't know. I didn't look too close. But,
okay.
I know. What was it? He also does a bunch of like Duolingo Japanese, and I know, I've heard like mixed things about that, but
Duolingo Japanese is
just the fact that you're able to like keep a streak with that. I don't know. Duolingo streaks. I know people like to make the joke of Duo will come and break your kneecaps if you don't like.
Oh yeah.
If you don't play Duolingo every day, but like
if you don't finish this AI generated sentence, the man in the red hat is happy.
I don't know, like I don't know. I've never really felt that sort of addiction to Duolingo where it's like
it's very gamified, but if you want a Duolingo type app for Japanese, there's one called Busu, which is Busuu. It's kind of like Duolingo, but like it is much more, because Duolingo, even from the beginning, it is built more around European languages.
Right.
To whatever extent it can be useful. But Busu specifically, like, I feel is an app that is much more oriented around Asian languages, around Japanese and Korean, like that. I feel like if you want to do like 2 minutes a day of that, there are other apps I think that you can integrate for specific things, like apps for studying grammar, apps for studying hiragana, apps for studying kanji, apps for reading, and so on. But yeah, I feel like if you want just like a catch-all that's like Duolingo but actually good for Japanese, it's Busu.
Interesting. I'll take note of that. What else? Oh, so it's about 9 right now. I don't know how much longer you can be here for. Like, are you
I
gonna
can
keep
go.
going?
I'm happy to keep going. I can go
Okay.
as long as you're comfortable going.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm just asking because I haven't had dinner yet. I think my last meal was like back around noon. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, if you're ready to finish up, then
uh,
by all means.
I'm just trying to think, cause like we talked so much that I kind of threw my questions out.
Yeah, yeah, and I never even got to. You've got like the George Harrison album to cover, and I never even got to talk about George Harrison.
Oh yeah, fucking brilliant Beatle there. I think he's my favorite.
Oh yeah,
Beatle.
yeah, best Beatle. Yeah, I think like yeah, that is a whole other tangent I could get into of like where I feel, you know,
You watch
that there
Elliot
is a part.
Roberts at all?
No.
He's a
No.
great channel. He does fantastic
Yeah.
like Beatles.
Elliot Roberts. Elliot
Yeah,
Roberts.
Elliot
I thought you said
Roberts.
Shelley. I thought I heard Shelley, but Elliot
Yeah.
Roberts, yes, he is great. Like he is just like a Beatles aficionado who's like a younger Aussie guy who's like, very eloquent and very
Yeah.
just got very warm, very good vibes. He is great. And yeah, his deep Discord dive on George Harrison was incredible. Like and the one on Paul as well. Or the one on John, like all three of them are great.
Yeah.
The one on Ringo, because
I can't wait for
Ringo
that.
yeah, I remember like he had the edit of like the Japanese commercials Ringo's in. It's like the one for the apple juice and the girls drink the apple juice and they're like, Ringo Sita. And then Ringo comes in like Ringo Star and they're like, no, Ringo Sita.
Oh
like
my
the
gosh.
apple juice is called like Ringo Sita because apple in Japanese is Ringo.
Right.
Yeah. And so like sometimes people make puns on that where it's like, oh, like apple like Ringo and apple Ringo like Ringo Star. Like Shina Ringo, the Japanese musician. Her name is like it's a pun on apple and Ringo Star.
I think the story, like the story of like when John and Yoko Ono met. I think I think it was the common refrain that Yoko only knew like Ringo of the Beatles, and that's because Ringo was the word for apple.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. That is very funny. Yeah. Yeah, I think for me, George is definitely the one that's most interesting. I mean, Paul has some amazing stuff as well, and there's a lot to say about how Paul is very open to all kinds of music and has done all kinds of music.
Oh yeah.
But George is the one I feel, I connect on that level of like where I feel, there are things about, George's history that are a bit messy, but like I do at least connect with that as I do not subscribe to any sort of specific faith.
Yeah.
I'm most definitely not a Hare Krishna or anything like that.
Right.
But I feel, like I have kind of gone in and out of, of having meditation being like a habit that I do, when I'm on it and I'm even doing 5 to 10 minutes a day, it is something I feel it helps me. And I feel like, there is a part of me, that even if I don't subscribe to any particular faith, I do have, a very spiritual side of me. And I feel like there is, listening to, especially like on All Things Must Pass, there is that kind of transcendent, euphoric kind of, especially on the, the big one, My Sweet Lord, that the way that track ascends is just goosebumps. You feel that it.
You made some phenomenal music, like
Oh yeah.
and I like what he did too, like in the '80s with the Traveling Wilburys and all that, collaborating with Jeff Lynne and Bob
I need
Dylan
to listen
and those
to.
guys.
Need to listen to more of that. Speaking of George Harrison in the '80s, that album cover for Cloud 9.
Oh yeah.
Like him and just like the button-up shirt. He looks so whimsical. He looks so.
It's fun. I think I've heard people dog on that album cover before, and I'm just like, it's a cute album cover, man.
I feel like nowadays we're in a kind of, in today's culture, like it is one of those album covers that people have love for more than they make fun of it, but in a way of like, look at this silly dad looking guy, like this like he's like the quiet beetle, mysterious beetle, and here he is just like looking like a
Yeah.
dad,
Oh my god.
looking all happy. It is such a real, warm album cover, and I love that.
Yeah, yeah. Hey RC, welcome to the stream.
Welcome.
Glad to see you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But but were there questions you wanted to ask?
Let me see. I mean, I don't want to go too much longer here, but
Fair enough. I will also say, like, I need to finish off. I feel like probably about an hour after this stream ends, I'll be finishing off my Mario Endurance run of Super Mario Brothers 3.
Very right.
Very
nice.
And so, yeah, that I am not in any sort of hurry, but that's something. Yeah, getting my plug in.
Yeah, I guess I could ask, like, are platformers your favorite type of game, or are there other types of games that you want to eventually like stream?
I feel like it's a lot of the games I play, it's kind of platformers and it is RPGs. I think like the franchise that I probably put the most time into is Pokemon.
Oh yeah.
Like I was played so much Pokemon, and I feel I really want to get into more. There are a lot of especially like Japanese turn-based role-playing games that I really want to play through. I played through a few Final Fantasies, but I never finished. Like I want to finish because I always got like halfway and then kind of fell off.
Nice.
2 games that I really want to finish is Earthbound and Chrono Trigger. Those are, but yeah, like, so like, but platformers, I think platformers and RPGs are my thing. Like Mario and Sonic games.
Yeah.
And I appreciate now that platforming, at least in recent years, like, you're in a good place with games like there's like, well, speaking of Mario, like Mario Bros. Wonder, speaking of Sonic Mania, but then you also have like indie platforms like Celeste that are just like, they're willing to be difficult as hell, but they do away with like the cruelty difficulty of like, like the limited lives and what have you, and like finding new ways to be challenging, just being really embracing that very beautiful, very vibrant 2D style. And I also, speaking of platformers, I also really want to play Banjo-Kazooie.
Oh hell yeah, love that game. What was I gonna say? Oh, have you thought of playing rhythm games? I know you mentioned like
Rhythm
Guitar
games.
Hero and Rock Band before, or I don't know that. I'm just, rhythm games have been on my brain recently because what was it? I bought myself like one of those new PDP Riffmaster guitars that have come out. They're very fancy. Like it's it's like I think the first wireless, like the first of its kind, basically, like the first wireless sort of Rock Band Guitar Hero compatible guitar. I mean. The unfortunate thing about it is that it was basically, for harmonics jumping into the Fortnite mines, they were able to get this guitar.
Jeez. Yeah, I would be interested. I think if I was going to do a rhythm game, the one rhythm game after, Guitar Hero fell off that I have played a solid amount of is... Well, I played a little bit of Love Live School Idol Festival.
Oh, yeah.
R.I.P. The story of how they're like, we're launching School Idol Festival too, and we're also shutting it down in 2 months. It's very funny and very sad. But the one game that I am kind of decent at rhythm game wise is Taiko no Tatsujin.
Oh, the fucking drum game.
One, like the drum game with the drum little jump guy. I love that game when, you go to like the arcades in Japan, you can play 2 songs for 100 yen, which is, I mean, less than a US dollar at this point. But also I've got the one on Switch. Maybe one day I will fork out on getting the drums.
Oh yeah.
I also want to do, I have Ring Fit. I want to do a Ring Fit stream at some point. 100 song karaoke. That's a big one I want to do.
All the VTuber things.
Yeah, all the VTuber things, I've already done spicy noodles.
Oh my god. I did a spicy noodle stream too, but I need to redo that because those noodles were weak as shit.
Yes, actually, I saw like I actually like because I was going through your videos to to watch a couple to kind of get a full feel for like what your streams are like because I watch more of your long full length videos than your streams,
Yeah.
and I saw the thumbnail and it's like it's funny because I was at the supermarket when I got the spicy noodles and I
Yeah.
saw those spicy noodles that they have the big Japanese kanji for spicy on them, but they're only like kind of spicy.
Yeah.
But I also got the cheese flavored bulldog because they
Mm.
were sold out of the regular bulldog, but I got the cheese ones. And so on that spicy noodle stream, I ate those spicy noodles, and it was like,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
it's spicy, I guess. But then I ate the bulldog, and it was like,
See, that's my thing.
this is yes,
I needed to get one of those bulldog pack of noodles, but I wasn't
yes,
willing to travel all the way into Brooklyn or Manhattan or whatever to find a supermarket that sold them. I just went to my local Target.
yeah. I don't think Target sells those kind of
No.
things, but
Or at least
no,
not where I was.
yeah, well, yeah, you need like the real stuff is it's the bulldog noodles. And I
Yeah.
remember after I did that stream, I had several people send me the tweet that was like I heard my boyfriend saying, "Why do you all you do is hurt people?" And he was talking to the chicken on the bulldog package. Yeah, no, it is pain, and the cheese ones are like one of the milder ones.
Mm.
But like, yeah, I did that, and I was just like fiddling around with Switch Online, just playing like random games with Switch Online, and just every time I died, I took another slurp, and it was it
Incredible.
was not fun. And I promised I would do another one if I don't finish Super Mario Bros. 3 today.
Yeah.
But I'm at the end of the game, so I think I'm gonna do it.
Well, there
I
you
think
go.
I've got it.
There you go. Do you have a favorite like video game soundtrack at all?
Favorite video game soundtrack? Ooh, good question. I think it would have to be probably Undertale, but I feel there are other ones I'd put in there. Chrono Trigger's got a great soundtrack.
I mean, just by sheer accomplishment of what Toby Fox himself did.
Yeah.
I definitely have a lot of love for the Undertale soundtrack.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and the Nier soundtrack. I think I really need to play through Nier Automata.
Oh yeah.
But I was playing through Nier Replicant, and there are such good, like the Song of the Ancients is the one that's like absolute incredible. The fake language that they have in that. Yeah, and like but I think I guess if I had to pick one, it would probably be Undertale. Just I love that. That is like that is the one video game soundtrack that has like most given me those goosebumps, and like when they hit those emotional highs and like the good ending of like actual like tears and stuff of like holy shit. And my favorite wrestler, Kenny Omega, he came out for one of his big matches at the Tokyo Dome because he has a little contact with Toby Fox, and he came out to like a rendition of Hopes and Dreams from Undertale.
Oh my god.
And it was like I had such like, oh my god, my favorite wrestler doing one of maybe my favorite video game song ever, and coming out to that in the fucking Tokyo Dome in front of like 30,000 people.
That's insane.
It's incredible. It is such a amazing thing. Like I was blown away, and he even had like a little like animation before made by Toby Fox of like him in like Undertale sprite style. It's incredible.
I love how much of a weeb Toby is. Like didn't he also do something with Marin in Hololive?
Yeah, under the not so secret pseudonym Uzai Inu, which is just annoying dog. It's like, gee, I wonder who that is. And then when in the verse on I'm Your Treasure Box, it has that such Toby Fox like it sounds like a fucking Undertale or Deltarune boss battle. And he's doing stuff with Pokemon as well. He did a good chunk of the soundtrack of Scarlet and Violet.
Yeah, that's right.
Like
he contributed to those games.
Yeah, and he's hung out with Sakurai. He's hung out with like Kenny Omega, one of the coolest wrestlers in the world, Sakurai, and all these Hololive people, and done bits and pieces with them.
Hell yeah.
He's gone so far, and for a guy who is so like elusive and his online presence, and like you barely see his face and stuff, he's going places. Like you'll just hear about him once or twice a year of like he was hanging out with this incredibly prolific person, and you can hear him in this, and I'm so excited to play the rest of Deltarune when that comes out.
I'm excited to see Deltarune like when it's completed. I admittedly haven't touched like its parts yet. I think I played part of like part 1 like a long time ago, but like I haven't really touched Deltarune because I admire the fact that he's willing to keep on uploading parts of it, but like I'd rather have the whole thing in front of me before I sit down and take it in.
That's understandable. Although like sometimes people say that and that it takes forever. Like for instance with like the Evangelion rebuild movies, they're like it's like where it's like, oh well, wait till the 4th one comes out, and that was like 8 years or something between the 3rd and the 4th. There was like more, like by the time the final movie came out, the first rebuild was older than the series was when the first rebuild came out.
Well, worth the wait though. I think they stuck the landing with that.
Worth the wait, yes. Amazing. And it is very much like how Unknown views Evangelion in 2021, where he is as an older guy reflecting on the legacy, repeating the messages of like, connecting with the people around you and living, enjoying, like he is an otaku at heart, but he also wants to spread the message of like connecting with the people around you and loving the people around you. That people always thought of him as this depressing curmudgeon guy, but it's actually the opposite between him and Miyazaki, where Miyazaki is actually the miserable curmudgeon making the whimsical stories, and he is the whimsical guy making the depressing stories.
I always appreciate how honest Sano is willing to be about his mental health struggles. Like and how they influence his art, like Shin Godzilla 2, like that's a fucking
I need to see I've only seen the first one. I really do appreciate that he has come to a place with his art of like, that he was able to leave Evangelion on a note that really felt like his note, and really just like that he is in a better place. He is, compared to where he was in the late 90s. He is a creator who, he has his own studio that is self-sufficient and is able to give artists the time to do what they want. He's doing Godzilla movies. He's doing all this stuff. Like he's living the dream. And he's just seems like a very, very, for a guy who's known for such depressing stuff, it seems like he's found peace in his life, and that is very, very heartwarming.
Absolutely. Okay, so I think we'll leave off with one more question here.
Yeah, no problem.
So something I've been asking my guests recently, world's been a very stressful place as of late, so I'm wondering, what music do you turn to in times of stress?
Recently it has been George Harrison. Yes. So I mean, a couple of the the big ones like My Sweet Lord and Give Me Love, Give Me Peace on Earth. And I think, but also his 1979 album. That is a really the self-titled one. That is one that I have been putting on for like, because it is such a warm,
there's some great
kind of
cuts on
blissed
that
out album. Like Love Comes to Everyone, Blow Away, because that's that's a song that's kind of like a going through being in one of those headspaces of like I think it was a song like when he had like a leak at his roof and he was just like like, and he's miserable and like trying to find that peace in himself. And also there are I have also comfort albums like as like a more like slightly more depressing, but like it's like very sunny sounding is Paramore's After Laughter. Love that album. And one of my peak comfort albums is absolutely An Evening with Silk Sonic with Bruno Mars.
That's a fantastic one.
Amazing album, like just beautiful. They are so good together. They're the way they harmonize, they work together creatively.
They did the whole retro like sound revivalism thing perfectly. Those are albums, and less now, like just like in reflection of certain things to do with his do with him. But like one album that in the past was one of my big comfort albums was Off the Wall by Michael Jackson. I definitely get that. I think that's his best album.
Absolutely, yes. I think that absolutely better than Thriller. Absolute banger album. Those are kind of like my comfort albums. Like I think if for like the depressy spaghetti, like I think recently it would be something like and also like a little bit of VTuber songs. Like I think
Oh,
you know, like the Japanese Nijisanji VTuber Tsukino Mito did a cover of
Oh.
a song by band Monkey Magic called Around the World, and that is one that's like, you know, that is one I've had on repeat.
That's cool.
For sure. Yeah. And also, one of my recent faves, with, Todoroki Hajime from Regloss. She did her own original song, Countach. Everyone go listen to that.
I haven't been keeping up with like Regloss. Those are like the newer hologens, right? Like the more band.
They're the second most newest.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
they're like Regloss is the first wave of like, so the project device where they're kind of going into more like, they're less on the streaming side and more on the entertainment side, which is what HoloLive wants to be going forward.
Deliberately more idle, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like Raden and Hajime are like some like the greatest VTubers I've ever seen. They are so great, and Hajime is like an incredible dancer.
Oh,
and
yeah?
like her streams, she's really funny because like her streams are like, she has like she does like a voice to sound like where she wants to sound cool, like her character wants to sound cool and intimidating, and she's just like going like kind of thing. But like then she starts singing, and she's so fucking cool. She's got like, it's just and that is she's so good. She's so good. Like Todoroki Hajime, her nickname is Bancho, which is like a term for like the leader of like a group of delinquents.
That's awesome.
She's awesome. Yeah,
I love VTubers like that, where they have like a very like Anna Alouette fucking sounds like this and always, but then you get her singing, and it's just like, oh my god.
Yeah, that debut, I watched that live, and like there's like Wish of the Songbird, and it goes to like the part where it goes all like that's like holy fucking shit. Like I had chills. Like I was not even thinking. When I watched those debuts live, I was not even thinking of her much, and then I see that, I'm like, holy shit. And she's, you know, probably as far as EN, like definitely my fave for sure. Like as a creator, she's so funny. She's so you know, her anecdotes and stuff, her life stories are so fascinating. But then she's also, and she did a concert of like the Nier songs that I highly recommend. Oh boy, it's so good.
Oh yeah, I've started listening to Rush again. Oh, actually, funny you should say that. I
listen to Rush.
I downloaded a lot of like Rush custom charts earlier this evening for there's this fan-made rock band clone out there called Yarg, yet another rhythm game.
Ooh.
And I've been playing a lot of that in the past few weeks since getting the plastic guitar. Like it's so cool how easy it is to get like a bunch of custom charts and just load them up and jam to them.
Yeah, I that sounds fun. Although I need the guitar, because my only Guitar Hero Rock Band was a Wii one that I do not have with me. One of those ones you need to pop the Wii remote inside.
It's just so unfortunate how few peripherals there are out there, at least cheap ones, you know, like it feels like you either have to buy like the $130 PDP Riffmaster, or like you have to go spelunking on Facebook Marketplace.
Oh boy, no, I don't even know how I do that in where I'm at. Like, getting things to where I'm at, like
I don't even know is Guitar Hero and Rock Band even that popular in Japan? Like, I feel like they'd be more.
They had the predecessor to Guitar Hero.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
So in the arcade, more people play it more in the arcades.
Yeah.
Like in the arcades, they do have like the guitar rhythm games, the ones that predated Guitar Hero. That Guitar Hero kind of. Yeah. Guitar Hero very much took the idea from like Guitar Freaks and stuff. Yeah, you can still find those in the arcades, and they're still pretty popular. They're not like, but they're not the most popular. I'd say Taiko's a bit more popular, and the one with like the circle, and you like woo, 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 like that one. And like the mobile ones. But the Guitar Freaks it's still going strong.
Okay.
You can still find it in the arcades, and that's generally where people play the games with the peripherals. Is they go to the arcades, they pop a 100 yen coin in, and then boom.
Very interesting. Well, Alexis, thank you so much for joining me today for today's talk
Yeah,
stream.
I had a great time.
Thank you. I know we had a bit of a scuffed start, but
Oh yeah.
none of you VOD watchers are going to bear witness to that.
You saw
thankfully.
nothing. You saw nothing.
Ah,
If you're watching live, you saw nothing. Don't tell the VOD watchers.
oh my. But thank you all so much for coming in. Alexis, where can people best find you? I know you said Twitch.
Yes, so I have this YouTube, and I'll probably be putting, when I eventually do like a video, I'm gonna have one on Sonic Superstars coming up, and it will be on this YouTube. You can see in the title, I'm still not at the requisite enough subscribers to change the name to get rid of that 1583. I'm not
Yeah.
350 years old. That is my Twitch. Yes, twitch.tv/Alexis Kunzite. I am on the Crumbling Bird app as well.
Yeah.
Twitter.com, same username, Alexis Kunzite. On Twitch, I'm getting very close to 100 followers.
Oh,
and I'm
yeah.
hoping to get there before the end of the month.
Go
So-
follow them if you like
Yeah.
them today. Alexis, very chill people. If you liked their convo today, go follow them. Go check them out on YouTube. They're definitely they definitely got plans for the future. It seems.
Yeah, I got stuff in the works. I hope it actually shows up. But yes, twitch.tv/Alexis Kunzite. See me in like an hour. I'll be playing Mario Brothers 3.
Hell yeah.
And twitter.com/Alexis Kunzite if you wish to follow me there as well. And eventually I will also put up other platforms, and you will hear about them on the platforms I am currently using.
Oh yeah. And thank you guys once again in chat for coming and checking out the stream. I always appreciate y'all chiming in with your own opinions and stuff. Hopefully I should be speaking more in the future, giving more updates about the Glam Metal Part 2 script to come. I'm hopefully
I'm excited, but
hell yeah. I'm hopefully going to be doing some recording for a Patreon exclusive video too, but there's a bunch of stuff that I got to bounce. I'm also considering like doing another tier list video before before the whole part 2.
a question about the Patreon though. Like, is there more Kiss stuff on the Patreon?
Yeah, well, there's a documentary I did, exclusive to that to Patreon as a sort of supplement for the Fall of Kiss. It's a thing on like the solo careers of Ace Frehley and Peter Criss.
Oh, okay. Then I guess I gotta go smash that subscribe button.
Hell
Walk
yeah,
out the
hell
cash.
yeah. And I've also got a little thing coming, hopefully for the glam metal series related to Kiss too. There, but
Ooh, that like the 80s stuff.
oh well, I mean not Kiss specifically, but you'll see.
Oh, okay.
You'll see.
Okay, I'm excited. I need to get through part 1 though, but I am excited.
Alrighty, well. Thank you guys so much once again for tuning in today. Actually, before we go, is there anyone I can raid into, dump you guys off at? Not a trailer, a
There's
redirect.
Hold on. Is there any cool upcoming? Oh, there's this cool upcoming VTuber called Garguda.
There's my friend Noriboshi Ariel. We can jump in on her stream.
Ariel, yes, she dropped by my stream yesterday.
Oh,
so
you're friends with Ariel
I'll drop by.
Noriboshi?
Yes. And it's like because she came to my stream and I was like, I'm gonna be on Rezi's channel. She's like, oh, I'm friends with Rezi. It's like,
oh hell yeah.
Yes.
Love her.
So I'll come join her. She joined mine. I'll join her.
Yeah. If you're all tagging along, I'm probably gonna say something like cat raid or whatever. But yeah. Thank you all so much for tuning in today. I've been your host, Rezi Orenji, and I will see y'all next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Otsukunzai. Bye-bye.